Hey everybody, welcome back to another WVgunsNGoats video, and today I'm going to show you how you can make some reusable rubber IDPA targets that should last you a while out on your range. Of course, we all know the cardboard IDPA target, and they get used up and then you have to buy some more of them. What we're going to do is we're going to make some IDPA targets out of this. This is a rubber stall mat. It's very thick, and this should hold up to rifle and handgun full metal jacket bullets pretty well. Hollow points, you're gonna have a little bit more damage done to it, but it's gonna hold up a lot longer than one of those cardboard targets is. Now, before we get started, I'd like to ask you to please like, comment, and headbutt that subscribe button to join the herd here at WVgunsNGoats. First off, you're gonna need your IDPA target or whatever kind of shape of target you wanna make this into. Of course, smaller targets, you're gonna get more targets out of one of these mats. Next up, you're gonna need a paint marking pen so that you can trace out your target onto the rubber. You're gonna need these special jigsaw blades, and I'll go over those separately here in a moment. And you're also gonna need a jigsaw. So here's the Bosch T313 AW3. These are specially for soft materials. They are the knife edge jigsaw blade. T-shank fits all jigsaws. You get 3 of them in a pack. These run about $9 on Amazon. That's where I got these. And as we can see, it almost looks like a blade that you'd use to carve a turkey at Thanksgiving. No teeth to get clogged up here. Now, what we're gonna do to utilize the money spent on this project is we're gonna trim this IDPA target, but only by a very small bit. I don't know how well you can see it, but there is a serrated line right here on this IDPA target. What we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it only on one side here. We're gonna trim that serrated line off of here. And this should allow us to get just about 3 targets out of this mat we have right here. Luckily, these targets have a nice serration to them that makes it easy to cut. So this is the material here that we have trimmed off of the one side. The reason that we trimmed that off was to get this target under 18 inches in width. It's now 17 3/4 inches wide, and that's important. It's going to maximize the amount of targets that we can get out of this mat, because this mat is 36 inches tall and 48 inches wide, so 3 foot tall by 4 foot wide. This should allow us to get around 3 targets out of this mat. So the best way I found to lay these out to maximize the amount of material you get out of this mat is to lay one here, and then we're gonna have one over here, and then we're gonna have one up here. So we're gonna get about 3 targets out of one of these mats. Now, this third target may not be to the full size of an IDPA target. It might be a little bit smaller, but if you're just using it on your backyard home range recreationally, it should be fine. Next up, take your paint pen here and lay your target out. Make sure the bottom's flush and the side that you cut is flush as well. Now we're just gonna outline our target here. Now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna flip our target over here, and we're gonna put our trimmed side out towards this side of the mat. And then of course, we're gonna lay our bottom end flush with the mat. And we're gonna do our outline here. Now we have 2 targets laid out on the rubber here. Gonna come back around here. Right, so here's where we run into it being a little bit of a size issue. As I said, that third one may not be to size spec. Right here, it cuts into these targets as well. So what we could do, I guess, is we could cut this line off of this side, or let's try flipping it over here. So our cut end is there. And what we'll do is we will just cheat it a little bit so that it lines up here with the heads of the targets we already have outlined. And we will connect those like so. All right, so we only lost about, I'd say, 1/4 of an inch from this side here. So we have 3 nice usable IDPA shaped targets here. First off, I would say to trim your corners here because they are going to be the smallest pieces. And you're going to need a nice big workplace here because of this mat is fairly heavy and you're going to have to move it a couple times around. So it's important to have a nice workspace to cut this mat on, and you might want to cut it down into smaller pieces as we're about to do, just because the mat is so heavy when they're all one piece, they're hard to move around and work with. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull it down here, and then I'm going to cut this out, and then we're going to cut down the center on these 2 targets, and that'll make them a lot easier to work with. So for these next 2, we're just going to cut it straight down the center. Between those 2 lines is going to be a lot easier than trying to trim that about 1/4 inch of material off there after you're done. So we're going to pull this back out. Got my dad out here to help me hold this target while I cut it. Target. Thanks for helping me hold that there. And we'll do the final trimming on this now. So now the rest of this is just cleaning up and finishing it into the final IDPA target shape. So there we have 1 rubber IDPA target. All right, we've got 2 more to cut the shape here. I don't know if putting a little WD-40 on it helps when you're trying to cut or not, but I don't think it could hurt it. Cut out. So here's that pile of scrap materials that we have left from making those targets, including the blades. They came out to be about $13 a target, maybe a little bit less, because we paid about 10 bucks for the blades. We got 3 of them, we only needed 1 of them, and we managed to get 3 targets out of that rubber mat there that cost us around $30. We are attaching it to the target holder with screws and washers. The washers are there to keep it from pulling through the material. Now just hit it with whatever color paint you want to that's high visibility, and we'll test it out by shooting it with some 9mm. Well, take a look at that, everybody. There is the 11 rounds of 9mm at very close distance on the front. And let's go ahead and look at the back here. There are the exit holes. The rubber soaked them up pretty well. Spray paint them and they pretty much disappear. Hey everybody, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial on how to make your own rubber stall mat targets. The great thing about these is you can leave them out year-round. You don't have to worry about them decomposing like a paper target would, and you don't have to worry about them rusting like a steel plate would. The other thing is you can shoot these at near point-blank distances without having to worry about any of the bullet jacket coming back and injuring you, because the bullet is passing through these. It's not shattering on these, so you don't have that danger that you do when you're shooting steel plates up close. As I've said before, if you're shooting these with hollow points, they will probably degrade a lot faster. However, for about $13 a target, that's the cost of the material and the blades there. Now, if you don't have a jigsaw, you'll have to borrow one or buy one of those, and that'll add into your initial cost. But this has been another WV Guns and Goats video. Everybody, I really hope this helped you out. Maybe it gave you an idea of something that you can do at home as well. Now remember, if you're not out there having fun shooting, what are you doing?